Welcome, everyone. Let's dive into a deep discussion on how Trump's approach toward BRICS has unexpectedly turned against him, as highlighted in the recent analysis by Ben Norton.
That's right. It's quite a twist, isn't it? Trump's strategy seems to misfire in the global arena.
Yeah, exactly. The whole idea is that Trump's attempts to confront the rising influence of BRICS, led by Russia and China, have instead accelerated the process of the global south moving away from the US dollar. It's like undermining his own position.
hmm So instead of containing BRICS, his policies actually, well, paved the way for them to build a financial system independent of US control.
Right. And what's fascinating is that Ben Norton dives into how this isn't just a simple diplomatic rift. It's about a seismic shift in global power
Yeah,
structures. You know, it's like the domino effect in international relations.
absolutely. It almost seems like a reversal of fortunes where Trump's aggressive stance inadvertently severed key ties.
Exactly. And what's really striking here is the use of strong language, saying game over as if Trump's plan has already been crushed by the BRICS coalition.
Right? That's a dramatic framing. But I wonder, could that be a bit oversimplified? Like, are the economic ramifications so absolute that we can say the US dollar is truly um, in terminal decline?
Oh, well, that's a good point. While the narrative is bold, the reality is a bit more complex. It's like, with changing alliances and economic interests, the US dollar might face long term pressure, but it's not an immediate collapse.
Yeah,
There's nuance in how global power shifts occur.
right. And if we look at the analysis, Norton seems to argue that the geopolitical realignment is not just about economics, but about a real ideological change as well.
Exactly. It's not simply a currency issue. It's about reshaping the rules of international economic engagement. It's as if countries are looking at alternative systems that prioritize sovereignty over tradition, you know?
And it's interesting to note that this shift also reflects a broader disenchantment with the old world order.
Yeah, totally. And the video touches on how Trump's policies, rather than isolating the US, have inspired coordinated moves among states that feel sidelined by American
Right.
hegemony. Like they've all had enough of being told what to do.
And that, I think, is the core of this realignment. Countries are asserting their independence more than ever in the face of external pressures.
Exactly. It's like a global return to multipolarity. The idea is that instead of one superpower dictating the terms, we're moving towards a more distributed
Yes.
system. And in that system, alliances like BRICS can really flex their muscles.
hmm There's also the element of economic strategy. When you have a bloc like BRICS pushing for alternatives to the dollar, they're essentially saying, we're not going to be at the mercy of US policy. Isn't that right?
Yes, exactly. It's like they've taken note of the US, sometimes misusing its influence to coerce other nations economically. And now, with a united front, they can foster a new financial ecosystem.
But do you think Trump's strategy ever really intended to ignite this kind of backlash? Or was it an unintended consequence?
I'd say it's largely unintended. Trump's approach seemed to be more aggressive, trying to contain or push back on alternatives without fully appreciating the interconnectedness of global economies. It's like trying to block out the sun with your hand.
Right, and the irony here is palpable. In trying to assert dominance, the US may have inadvertently sown the seeds for its future challenges.
Absolutely. Think about it. By underestimating the appeal of a multipolar system, Trump might have, in a way, accelerated that ongoing
Yeah,
process. It's a classic case of the cure being worse than the disease.
yes. And what's also interesting is the timing. This isn't coming out of nowhere. The groundwork for this realignment has been in place for years.
Right, and Norton's breakdown reinforces that point. The global south, feeling constrained by the dollar's dominance, has been eagerly waiting for an opportunity to assert its economic agency.
Indeed.
It's like a long simmering pot finally coming to a boil.
I love that analogy. And it resonates with the idea that geopolitical changes are often slow to unfold until a tipping point is reached.
Exactly. It's the classic slow burn in international relations. And while the narrative paints a dramatic game over scenario, the underlying reality is a gradual transformation that's been building longer than many might think.
And on that note, it also shows how external branding and rhetoric can sometimes oversimplify what are, in reality, quite complex economic processes.
Absolutely. It's like wrapping a very complicated story in a punchy headline. Game over sounds definitive, but it really is more of an
Yeah,
ongoing evolution. And sometimes that punchiness is exactly what grabs attention, even if it doesn't capture all the nuances.
true. And speaking of nuance, do you think the analysis falls short at all in acknowledging the resilience of the US economic system?
That's a good critique. I mean, while the video underscores the emerging challenges, there's arguably an underestimation of the US's capacity to adapt and modify its policies. It's a bit like saying your umbrella is useless in a storm without considering that you might just get a sturdier one.
Exactly, that's an interesting counterpoint. The US dollar has a long history of weathering economic storms, after all.
Yeah, and it's possible that while the shift toward a multipolar order is underway, the road ahead for the US dollar might be more about gradual adjustments than an outright collapse. It's a more
Indeed.
intricate dance rather than a sudden topple.
And then there are the domestic political implications. Trump's approach might have outsized symbolic value, but internally, it could be fueling more debate about US global strategy.
Exactly. It's not just a matter of international economics. It's also a reflection of how American politics can influence and sometimes distort global perceptions. It's like a ripple effect. Domestic policy sends shockwaves internationally.
And that, in turn, affects how allied nations and even adversaries plan their strategies. There's this feedback loop that's both fascinating and a bit alarming.
Absolutely. The interplay between domestic political narratives and international economic shifts is complex. When you factor in the reactions of key players like China and Russia, you see a form of strategic realignment that's both gradual and revolutionary.
Yep, it's like watching a chess game where every move, even if seemingly small, can lead to big changes on the board.
Exactly. And this chess game analogy fits perfectly. Every policy move, every rhetorical decision layers on new implications. Sometimes it's unexpected, like when Trump's policies, which were meant to shore up advantage, ended up enabling his strategic challenges instead.
And that brings us back to how narratives in geopolitical analysis can sometimes oversimplify the underlying complexities. It's definitely a reminder that the international stage rarely plays out in black and white.
Right. It's a spectrum of influences, a blend of economics, national pride, and historical context. Trump's Game Over headline might have been more about stirring controversy and drawing attention than delivering a finished verdict. It's an
Yes.
invitation to look deeper into how global power dynamics are evolving.
Well said. And it will be really interesting to see how these trends develop over the coming years, especially as new alliances form and the world gradually shifts away from a single dominant currency.
Absolutely. There's a lot more to unpack as we watch this evolution continue. And while there's room for debate about the resilience of traditional systems, the analysis does highlight a pivotal moment in the international order. It's
Right, exactly.
a real wake-up call for policymakers everywhere.
And on that note, it certainly leaves us with plenty to ponder how economic narratives, political actions, and international alliances intertwine in ways that can defy expectations.
Yep, indeed. The complexity of today's global arena reminds us that nothing is ever as straightforward as it seems. Thanks for this engaging chat. It's been a whirlwind of strategic insights.
Absolutely. Thanks for the discussion. Really makes you think about where the world is headed and how every decision sends ripples across the globe.